Welcome back to the channel, my friends. In this video, I am going to transform the look of this cheap 71 beater of a Corvette. And once I get this thing looking like $1 million bucks, I'm going to take it on a horrendous hell ride through Hollywood. Wait! I can't trash this thing before you even watch the video. Man, that's gonna leave a mark. Boy, it sounds good, doesn't it? Doesn't this car sound good? Oh, you're gonna love it. But I can't trash this thing until the end of the video. So stick around, watch the video, all right? Hey, let's back this thing up. This video is brought to you by Corvette Central, the leader in high quality Corvette parts and accessories. And they're not just the sponsor, they're my trusted go-to for all the parts I'm gonna need to get this car back on the road and looking really good. Wait a minute, shouldn't I be working? Okay, yeah. Me and my razor blade are about to find out what's hidden beneath 50 years of multiple colored paint jobs. This could get a little ugly. Paint, primer, and body filler are really good at hiding a turd of a body. So until I get this thing totally stripped naked, I'm not gonna know how good of a deal I really got on this car. Yeah, I got super lucky picking this thing up for only 3,500 bucks. And then I got lucky again when I found out it was a tire smoking machine. I just hope my lucky streak continues when my scratch off ticket here reveals a no-hit virgin body. Ooh, yeah. There's quite a few different methods of stripping paint off your car. The most common way of stripping paint is sandpaper and a whole lot of elbow grease, because it is a big job sanding layers of paint off a car. My secret weapon is this razor blade. And as you can see, I'm ripping off a serious amount of paint in no time at all. Now, it doesn't take off all the paint. I can never seem to get original paint off because the factory applies it so good onto the car. And if you have a really good primer job or another paint job that's applied real well, it's super hard to get off with a razor blade. It doesn't look like I'm taking off much paint when I razor blade, but I'm gonna show you what's going on under here. So you have this white paint job, this layer of red oxide primer, this red paint job, another layer of red oxide primer, and then another layer of gray primer. And then underneath the gray primer is the original orange, but I don't want to sand into it because this is a pretty aggressive sandpaper, so I don't want to mess that up right now. All right, so I do all that sanding, and then I can just come by with a razor blade and rip it right off. off most of the paint, it's time to sand down these last few layers of primer and see what we've got. I'm gonna see what 400 grit sandpaper does to this. Because I can see that original orange. Now that's the color I've been talking about. Code 987 Ontario Orange Metallic. That paint is over 50 years old. There's not much left of it, but what is there looks really cool. That's nice and original, never hit. That looks great. If the rest of the car looks anything like this, I'm a happy camper. This inspires me to sand the rest of the car to see if it all looks like this. Okay, so far, this is looking really good. I've done the complete rear section of this car and it looks amazing. I found no damage whatsoever, and what I did find was a ton of original paint. I can't believe how much original paint is still left on this car. I've stripped a ton of these cars in the past and I've never found this much original paint hiding under all these other layers of paint and primer and whatever. Look at that, huh? Woo! I'm liking this. What started out as just scraping multiple layers of paint off this car has turned into an all-out rescue of as much original paint as I can possibly save, which is a lot more work and a lot more time consuming, but well worth it because this is looking great. Ooh, I love this. Okay, I made my way completely around the car, stripping every panel down to the original orange paint, except this hood. And unfortunately, I know that there's gonna be no old original orange paint under the white here, because this is not the original hood. Somebody swapped out the original with this L88 big block style hood, which I think looks a whole lot cooler than the flat stock hood. But I'm gonna pop it off right now because I can't have a white hood on an orange car. This car is officially orange. So I'm gonna take it off for now until I figure out what I'm gonna do with it. And I'm gonna get this car cleaned up and see what I've got here. This is starting to look really good. Let me ask you something. If you were lucky enough to find a 50-some-odd-year-old Corvette that still had its original code 987 Ontario Orange Fire Mist Metallic paint covering most of the car, would you paint over it? We're talking about a survivor here. Is this paint in good condition? Not even close. But it tells a story. This paint has survived over 50 years. That's got some character. I can't paint this car. It looks too good. What I can do is take this big block hood that I got with the car and I can paint it in a way that it matches the rest of the patina on this car to stress it out a little bit, make it look like it originally came with this car. And then I can just clear everything and make this thing absolutely beautiful. In my opinion, of course. Oh, that's what I'm gonna do. This car is gonna look old, original, and beautiful. Ooh. There it is. All right. Okay, now this hood is worthy of being put back on the car. I was able to match this paint color spot on. And then I did it just like the factory did, where they started out with a layer of red oxide primer and then a coat of grayish blue sealer, and then they put on the Ontario orange. So when I sanded these distressed areas, they matched the other distressed areas on the rest of the car perfectly. And then of course I had to put a stripe on it. I mean, it's a 70s muscle car. Of course I'm gonna put a stripe on the car, right? I had to distress the stripe so it matched the rest of the paint. And now that I've got the hood exactly the way I want it, I'm gonna clear coat it to protect my work, and I'm using the good stuff. American Icons high solids 2K urethane clear. That way I'll have the UV protection from the sun and the elements, because I want to drive this car and I work too hard on this not to protect it. White door jambs on an orange car is not gonna cut it. So I got a little more work to do before I get this car 100% orange. I think what I can do is get most of this paint off with a razor blade, but for these hard to get areas, I'm gonna have to hit it with the soda blaster, because I'd be like a week in there trying to sand all this white and red paint off of this thing in here. But it's looking pretty good. Gotta make it look good, right? Oh, look at that. Oh, they barely put any primer on the door jambs, which has saved me a lot of work. Oh, look at that. That's gonna look good with not a ton of work. I can't just stripe the hood. I gotta continue it down the middle of the car, and then I'm gonna wrap it around the rear, which is very reminiscent of a 70s era muscle car. A lot of the Baldwin Motion cars use this type of stripe, and it works out real good because it covers one of the worst spots on the car, which would be nice. How convenient. This clear laid down really nice. Maybe a little too nice, because it looks like a new paint job, and that's not the look I'm going for. I want this car to look like my dad painted it back in the 70s. We used to have a body shop up in Canada back in the day where my dad did nothing but high quality lacquer paint jobs. And I know to get that look, I need to sand this flat with 1500 grit and then hit it with a wool pad with some rough cut compound, and I'll end up with that kind of a satin shine. Nothing too glossy. I don't want it glossy and new looking. So it's gonna take a little more work, which seems to be the common theme with this car, is it just, I end up getting myself into more and more work. But it's coming out nice. And that's the goal, right? A little bit of extra work, a little bit of elbow grease, huh? That's no biggie. I can handle that all day long. Yeah, all right. Oh, don't mess anything up. Getting the first bolt's the tough one, because I don't want to chip it up. That's what the blanket's for. Perfect. I love the reassembly part of the build, because every time you put another part back on the car, it reveals a little bit more of what your end product's going to look like. That looks good. Along with painting the hood, I had to paint this cowl grill and also the deck grills and the side fender grills, because there was just no paint left on those whatsoever. Surprisingly enough, the bumpers on this car are really nice shape. That's more money I don't have to spend on re-chroming. Up until now, I've gotten away pretty cheap with just about everything on this car, including the $3,500 I paid for it. And mechanically, I got away paying the bare minimum. A gas tank, a few ignition parts, brakes, and a carburetor rebuild, that is nothing for getting an old car like this driving safely down the road. Body-wise, all it took was a few razor blades, some sandpaper, and paint. I mean, this car has been the ultimate budget build. And a part of me loves that, but I know that you can only build so nice of a car when you're on a budget. And I'd like to make this car really nice. So I'm teaming up with Corvette Central to help me take this car to another level. All these new parts are going on this car. And wait till you see what I've got in some of these packages. Some really cool stuff. And this is only half the parts. I still got boxes on the way. This is my new little candy store here. So I'm gonna start out with some door stuff, which is Corvette. New door handles. Oh man, do they look good. Compared to the old one, oh my, what a difference. I can't put in the old nasty pitted, scratchy door handles on this car. Gotta have the nice pretty chrome. Man, does that look good. Besides the door handle, I also got new door locks and window felt. Because you don't want the window going up and down getting scratched. I got complete weather stripping for the whole car. Here, around the door, around the pillars here, everything. I had planned on putting these original door panels back on the car. Looking at them now, yeah, I don't think so. Whew. Okay, wow. What a difference. This is over 50 years old though. But besides them being so different in condition, this one obviously looks a little different with the extra wood grain trim in here, the extra chrome and carpet. I ordered door panels for a car with the custom interior trim package. When this car was new, it came with a lot of factory options like air conditioning, tilt telescopic wheel, power windows, but it didn't come with the custom interior trim package. So, with the help of Corvette Central, I'm gonna give this car the custom interior trim package it never had, which is these fancy deluxe door panels, and that interior package also came with leather seats. Check this out. Oh yeah, that's leather, my friends. That's what a seat in a classic muscle car should smell like. leather. Oh yeah. This interior is gonna look ridiculously good. Okay, all right, I gotta get to work putting these leather seats on. Oh yeah. All right. With a 50-some-odd-year-old car, it's never just repairing or replacing, it's restoring, which means there's a ton of little problems that you gotta fix along the way. Like these seat back stops that always break out. I'll hit them with the welder, they'll be fine. Some of the wrinkles out of this. It's going to take a little time, maybe throw it in the sun a little bit, but wow, what a difference. This compared to that. You know, sometimes you just have to do a side-by-side comparison to see how good something really is. When I bought this car, I thought the seats were like the nicest part of this old Corvette, but then putting them beside the new leather, they start to look old and tired. But they're not ready for the dumpster just yet. I'm gonna hang on to these and use them for another project. I'm putting the new leather on these other seat cores. A local upholstery shop recovered these and I think they did a terrible job. They didn't even stick with the original seat pattern. Not like these ones over here. This is the exact seat pattern they used in '71, so you know they're gonna look spot on original. And to get that newer look, I went the extra mile and used new seat foam. And let me tell you, that was one heck of an arm workout. It's a lot of extra work trying to cram all this new firm foam into these leather covers. But the result, man, you just can't beat the result. And sitting on this is gonna be night and day compared to sitting on this. This, it's like saggy like my grandma's butt. This, ooh, that's like Olivia Newton-John in Grease. Ooh, with the tight spandex. Seats are all finished up. Did you notice how nice the seats were? Damn, did those seats look good or what? Oh, yeah. That's what I'm talking about. Oh, doing tricks. That's what I do. You know what I'm talking about? You know, if I was flipping this around and it poked a hole in the seat, wouldn't I feel pretty damn stupid? Yeah. Oh, you didn't see that one though, I bet, didn't you? Okay. All right. Seats are all finished up and ready for install. But before I do that, I've got a whole lot more new parts that I'm gonna put in this interior before I can bolt in the seats. Like these T-top liners. Those are some nice T-top liners, if you don't mind me saying, you know what I mean? Oh, that's what I'm talking about there. Okay. Let's say you're buying a new Corvette in 1971 and you want to order the factory custom interior trim package. It would have set you back a whopping $158 extra, which is a smoking deal. Even back then, 158 bucks for leather seats, special carpet, wood grain accents on the door panel, and the console. How do you not order that option? All right, I am finished. Not with the complete car, just the interior. And it looks great. You know, aside from putting it out in the sun to get a few more wrinkles out of these seats, I'm done with the inside of this car. And that gets me only one job away from completing the whole car. My last and final thing I need to do to the car is to get underneath and take care of the exhaust. Ugly part of this car is now off. Although those mufflers didn't sound all that bad, exhaust on a 70s muscle car needs to make a statement. And this exhaust was just not cutting it. What this car needs is side pipes. Nothing makes a statement better than side exhaust, am I right? I didn't want to go with some aftermarket ones for this car. I wanted something that was factory design, but the problem was in 71 GM didn't offer side exhaust, but they did offer it in 1969. So what I got was these. This is a factory original 1969 Corvette side exhaust cover. Check that out. This is designed for the 69, which is pretty much the same body style as this. And does that not look amazing? Well, okay, if it was in a little better shape, it'd look amazing. These are supposed to be all chromed up, but obviously there is no chrome left on these things. I found the complete side exhaust system on Facebook Marketplace for pretty cheap. And even though these are in really rough condition, I had planned on cleaning them up and using them on this car. But that was all before I got these. Corvette Central sent me these reproductions of these original 69 Corvette side exhaust covers. And let me tell you, these are some high quality reproductions. They even use the original GM tooling to make these. So you know they're gonna be exact replicas. And that's not cheap plastic replica, that's chrome. It's dirty, who dirtied that? Oh, man, shine that up. Oh yeah. That is chromed aluminum, just like the factory did. Wow. Woo! Damn, those look good. Now that screams hot rod. Okay, they look amazing. Let's find out what they sound like. Oh, listen to that rumble. Oh man, that sounds good. Sounds like a hot rod to me. Oh yeah, that sounds great. That's exactly what I wanted it to sound like. Oh man, that's good. Woo! Look at this thing. Oh yeah. I'm done. How's it looking? This is what we call finished around here. I know it doesn't look like a finished, done car, but that's what this is. I'm really liking the way this car came out. I mean, when I bought this car, I didn't expect much. It was a $3,500 ugly duckling that I had to tow home. I mean, my original plan for this car was just to restore an old turd. But instead, I ended up rescuing a survivor. I mean, anybody can paint a car and make it look new again. But to get the opportunity to save a 55-year-old survivor, that doesn't happen too often. So I was gonna take full advantage of it, and I did. Here it is. Did you notice this primer spot here? I left that there just to let people know that this ain't no trailer queen. This car isn't gonna sit in my garage and only go to car shows. Hell no. This here is a driver. Let me know in the comments if you think this car is either ruggedly handsome, beautiful, or downright ugly. Better not say downright ugly. I love this car. And now that I've made this car about as good looking as it's ever gonna be, it's time for me to take it for a test drive. And you might wanna stick around for this because my test drive's in Hollywood and I'm gonna drive this car like I stole it.
Is that Shawn Pilot's Corvette?
Yeah, he bought that thing for $3,500.
Wow, he stole that car.
I don't know if you noticed it, but those cops back there are from an old 70s car chase movie called Dirty Mary, Crazy Larry. And like the rest of the cops in that movie, they're having a hard time keeping up with me. A ton of torque, which makes it really easy to roast the tires and leave those cops in my dust. And 100 miles an hour or plus for this car, not a problem. But I still got a cop on my ass. And I know the only sure way to lose the cops when you're getting chased in a 70s movie, you gotta jump the drawbridge. Yeah. All right, it got a little toasty out there, but you gotta admit, that was one hell of a test drive. Woo! Yeah. Thank you for coming along with me on my crazy test drive there. And I'd also like to thank my sponsor, Corvette Central. And if you like this video, don't be afraid to hit the like button and maybe hit that subscribe button. And hey, I'll see you next video.